Welcome to Locked In on Lockdown. My name's Alex Elaine.
I'm Jack Gerards.
And this is your daily source of motivation, inspiration, and actionable tips to get your mind right and your day kick-started with a bang. What are we talking about today, Jack?
I'm really excited. Today, we are talking about Alex's story. And guys, girls, listen, this is an incredible story. So I don't know where you want to start, Alex. I'm going to allow you to lay the foundations. But already knowing how this story plays out, I'm feeling very inspired. I'm very excited. So tell them.
Appreciate it. Let me work out how to summarize my life in a few minutes. So this will be fun. But I grew up in a single parent household. So I was raised by my mother, and my mother was very big on education and wanting to put a lot into making sure that we were well educated. But we weren't necessarily privileged, let's just say, growing up. And so actually Jack and I went to the same school, secondary school. But coming up, my mum had to sacrifice almost everything to be able to put us in a position where we could go to those schools and be well educated. And so what I found is from a very young age, I became entrepreneurial. I set up things like eBay stores at age 13. And I was just doing everything and anything. I even had a gaming team where we competed across Europe, and I earned money through doing that, as well as creating ebooks. But through all of that, during my school years, because of not being privileged, a time that really always stood out to me was where we had to move to my aunt's house, and I had to share a single bed, living in my aunt's office or spare room at the time, because we just didn't have the money to, in essence, be able to live a life of privilege. So I lived there for about a year, and all I remember is during those times, the hunger, the drive that I started to build, I can't describe it. I can't put it into words, because when you're sleeping and laying your head there every night, and at certain times you're thinking about what your next meal is going to look like, you have that experience of the concept of deprivation. And I'm not going to say I ever starved or I never had clothes on my back, but I felt close enough to it that I knew I never, ever wanted to live like this myself as an adult. And so as we grew up and as I got a little bit older, I got to age 16, and a lot of my friends were, I guess, doing many different things. Everyone wanted to go cinema and have fun and asking their parents for money to do it. But I just wasn't in that position. And as a young man, you don't want the image that you're not that person in that position. But what I was so hungry and driven from all of those previous experiences. I said, I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to work, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to turn my life around and one day change the circumstances of my family. So I went and I got a job at McDonald's. Now, if anyone wants to try and feel what that's like, I lived in Croydon. I'm born and bred in Croydon. So I worked in McDonald's off of the high street in a shopping centre called Central. And when you're 16, a young male, that is not the cool thing to do. I can tell you that for fun. So, people found out, and I had to kind of endure and accept a bit of teasing and banter that people wanted to throw at me. But what I was doing was I was earning money, and I was getting paid every week. So while everyone else was like, hey, mum and dad, can I get £20 to go cinema? I had money in my pocket. And I started to get the appetite for things at that point to say, hey, I love this concept of working, earning money, and being able to make a difference in my life through that. So I took all of that fuel and momentum. And I guess that the next pivot point was when I was age 19. And because of the investment that my mum had put into our education, I was fortunate enough to get recognized by an organization as one of the more promising students in the UK, promising Black students. And I got awarded a full scholarship studying law. And I took that scholarship 9 months in, realized I really wasn't passionate about law and it wasn't my thing, but it was the expectation of me as a promising student that Alex would either be a doctor or a lawyer. So 9 months in, I took the decision that I was going to drop out and pursue my passion, which was always something that was either entrepreneurial or sales-led. And I've taken the last 9 years, 10 years, and built my career in everything that I'm passionate about, and been fortunate enough that with my work rate and that passion, desire and hunger to build a life that is now starting to manifest into something that I once dreamed about. But we're only at the beginning, but that's it so far. Jack, I don't want to dominate all of our time.
I want you to dominate all the time, bro. I love this story. But I wanted to kind of bring it back to that point, like to be studying law, which is, I mean, notoriously extremely difficult degree as it is, on a full scholarship, and then to turn around and decide that is not what you want to do, having proved that you're extremely capable. At that point in time, I would say it's a sure thing that you've changed your life, that you've escaped the circumstances that you've come from. Where did you find the courage to say, do you know what? I have this already, but I believe that I can do even better. That is truly phenomenal, to be in that circumstance and say, I have so much confidence in myself that I'm going to risk everything that I already have in the pursuit of something that's even greater. What was the thought process behind that?
I love the question. I want the message from this episode to be that you can escape rock bottom, because I've experienced what it's like to be at rock bottom and come from a real standing start in life to being able to get much closer to the opposite. What sparked in me is, as I say, that experience of deprivation, it bred something in me that I wouldn't change for the world. And that innate hunger and desire and passion that I have, you can't compare it. It's something that is so deep rooted that in that moment, I said to myself, Alex, whether you have the natural ability or not, I'm going to outwork, I'm going to be first, I'm going to be there last. No one is going to outwork me until I get to where I need to get to. And so what it took was a combination of self-belief, but also a commitment. The commitment was to myself to say that I'm not going to allow anyone to put in more than I'm going to put in to make this happen. So this isn't about whether you just have it or you don't have it. It's about the commitment to yourself to say that it's going to be me, right? And when it came to this sales game, I said, it's going to be me. Whether I have it today or not, I'm going to have it, because every single day from this day onwards, I'm going to be the one that's going to make the difference, and I'm going to win the long game, right? And the moment I made this decision, it was one of the lowest times in my life. I was depressed because when I dropped out, no one had belief in me. I was written off. It was like, oh, the guy that had it all and now has lost it all. And everyone wrote me off. It took me a few days, but the person who then didn't write me off was me. And I decided that I'm not writing myself off. I'm going to be the one that's going to make the difference. And I committed myself. The last 9 years, it's been blood, sweat and tears. I wouldn't trade a moment for the world, because I've loved it, because I've operated in my passion. And that's why I'm being successful today, because I was bold enough to make the decision, commit myself. And as I say, I'm just getting started. The next 10 years are going to be even more phenomenal, because that mentality is exactly the same.
Guys, I just want to draw your attention. Obviously, a lot of the time on here, we're all smiles and whatnot. But when you saw Alex right there, you saw the inner beast. Like, I could feel it. It's that mentality. I could feel it of just, do not get in my way. Do not get in my way, because I will run through you. Develop that. Work on developing that. Alex, thank you so much for sharing this with us, man. I feel emotional hearing this story, man. It inspires me. I love it. Guys, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Stay locked in.
See you next time. Take care.
Take care.